full disclosure, if any of these flowers fall off, she will be picking them up. But our last season of Deposit That, we ran the anti-fragile edition of people sharing their stories on how they were not fragile, how they faced adversity, overcame special situations, and it was only right. I tried getting you on, but I don't think you were in town that week. It's only right to get you on to share your story. So Sheryl, we're sitting here at your building that's almost complete on the Lower East Side.
Just about there.
Where do you want to start?
I am very happy with the result. So I'm thrilled about that. As you know, it's been a long road.
How long?
It's been, well, I bought this building in 2017.
7 years.
We did the demolition in 2018, and then we stalled and started back up again, and then got hit with COVID. And the lender said, we can't fund anymore. Our investors ran for the hills, and we can't give you any money, and you need to pay us.
That's when we met.
That's when we met, and I was trying to refinance to get the project going. So I lost another year because who was lending money in COVID? I'm making calls, and people are kind of laughing at me. What?
Yep.
We're going to lend you money?
Yep.
So I finally got it started again. Just as I was getting started, I got hit head on the highway in a car accident. And that knocked me out for a couple of months.
Literally.
Literally, yeah. It's about literally. But, you get back up and keep going. And got a new loan, got the project going, got a good construction company. And, it is all about the people that you work with.
What kept you going every day, though? I mean, every time I've talked to you, you've always been with a smile, right?
Well, I wanted to see it to the end, and it's just, I know a lot of people said to me, my accountant, for example, what are you doing?
Stop.
You're just going to lose more money than you're already losing.
Give up.
And I said, I can't. My heart and soul's in this now. I love the design. We got a great design going on the building, a great location. I was very excited about doing it. And I knew I could do it, and I knew I could make it work.
Was it like a personal challenge for you at that point?
It was a personal challenge. I always kind of figure if something can be done, there's no reason that I can't do it.
I love that.
And,
Have you always been that way your whole life?
Yeah. And, maybe I'm wrong about some things,
sure.
but...
Learn throughout the way.
But, and you get knocked down a lot with that. Because
every day probably on a job like this.
Sure. You're stepping into waters where you really don't know. And it's not so bad... if you make a bad decision, okay, roll it back, try again. You just have to keep getting up in the morning and go.
So how do you feel now that you're right at the finish line of getting this potentially off your hands? Obviously you're going to be selling.
Well,
12 units.
I mean, we'll start sales, but I feel really confident. We have a great sales team.
Yep.
You had a conversation with Andrew.
Yep.
He's really on top of this. He's sharp. He's, Sirhan's a great firm.
Sure.
We did staging, as you saw. You've met Claire, did a wonderful job. And so I think we're ready to go.
Would you ever do this again?
Yeah, I would, because all the issues that I had in the beginning, forget COVID and forget the car accident. But
the head-on collision.
Yeah.
Both head-on collisions.
Full head-on. Yeah, exactly. But, starting out, having the wrong team in place almost destroyed me, and I was determined not to let that happen. But oh my God, they can take some pot shots at you. People do things that you just wouldn't believe.
What got you into investing in larger real estate development to begin with? If I remember correctly, did you work for Morgan Stanley, you said, back in the day? Or?
I worked for institutional investment.
It wasn't Morgan Stanley?
Yeah, I did work at Morgan Stanley.
Sure.
I worked at Credit Suisse,
and
the last place that I worked for 11, 12 years was TIA Credit, which is now Nuveen.
Yep.
So full career in investment management, but on the side, I have always done either renovating or building new, but not in the city.
Got it.
So in the city, this is a different ball game.
A whole different animal.
So I started out by investing in a couple of projects down here to kind of start learning the ropes. And truth be told, I never intended to do this exclusively on my own.
You got lucky enough.
I had someone who said he was a GC, he was going to do this, and he could also send investors my way. He didn't do any of that, and he flaked out. And
it's common, happens every day.
Yeah, and so there I was, and it was kind of like, well, do I fold or do I go on?
Interesting.
But I had some people that had invested a little bit. I didn't want to let people down.
Yep.
And there was no reason that I couldn't figure out how to do it.
That's amazing. I think like that mentality, like I admire that. I told you this since the day I met you. Like, listen, regardless whether this works out or not with our relationship, like that's the most admirable thing anybody could do. Because in my side of the business, I see 95% of the people quit when the first thing goes wrong, right? And I never saw an ounce of quit in you. You were always like, I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna get it done. I made sure to check in on you, make sure your health was okay along the way.
You definitely
because I know like the toll it takes on people, and people don't ever really talk about like the actual toll it takes on you during and then after, right? A lot of people get that PTSD, and like they're like, I'm never doing that ever again. And like your vision of saying, yeah, I would do this again. I don't find anything like more special than that.
Well, again, it's the players. If you get the right team, if you have a good GC, well, that makes all the difference.
Sure.
The previous GC who didn't do
might not have been a GC.
I mean, literally locked me out of my own property. Seriously, it was a hole in the ground, but they locked up the gates and everything, so I couldn't even get in. I had to have somebody come with bolt cutters.
Unbelievable.
Like, what are you people doing?
Unbelievable.
Anyway,
What was like the blessing in disguise from all this, would you say?
The blessing?
When I'll ask you the same question the day you sell out.
As of
today,
exactly. I think I have met a lot of great people along the way.
Yep.
Somehow the tide kind of turned. Once you hook into some good people, they introduce you to other people. You can get in with the right, because there's so many people involved in this. Architect,
oh my gosh.
Engineer, right? You've got
insurance,
expediters, down to we get to the end here, and we're talking brokers, staging, obviously what
cleaners.
You do, the financing, people cleaning, people helping assemble furniture, all these people are so important to the effort.
Interesting.
And it's just, I've been very hands-on, and the people here say to me, "We've never had a developer this involved." And
you're picking up every pedal here. I'll take that one for you.
They're thinking, "Would you just get out of the way?"
We'll let you know when it's done. That's so funny.
But
like you said, your heart and soul was in this. Like you put everything behind this. You put your stamp and your name on it.
Yeah.
And I think like that's what has. Hearing you speak, like that's what's meant the most to you about it, like leaving your statement on this deal.
Well, and doing a beautiful project. The architect who you will be interviewing as well, has some really great touches, whether it's the cove lighting in the units or things like that, where people say, well, but you can BE it out, value engineer it out, save the money. And I was like, no, but I want it to be special.
Do it right.
I want it to be a special place. So. It's it's what I want. Down to I think I told you this. We'd be sitting around the table, and of course all men in the industry and me.
Sure.
And I said, and they're like, well, what about this? You have a bidet toilet seat in here. Why don't you save the money? I was like, absolutely not. We are having the bidet toilet seat because once people try it, that's what they want.
Well, that's where vision comes in like so crystal clear, right? I think you said earlier, you always had your eyes on the finished product. And like, I don't think you ever lost sight of getting it completed. You just hit some roadblocks along the way.
I hit a lot of roadblocks along the way.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot.
7-year journey.
Gosh. And it honestly, it takes your life for that period.
All of it. Peace of mind,
especially
everything.
last couple of years, it's like, and you're dedicated to that, and you don't have time to be dedicated to much else.
Are you gonna take a breather after this, or are you gonna just jump right back into the waters? You're probably going to jump right back in. You're probably ready looking for the next one.
Okay, so your anti-fragile thing.
Yeah.
So, of course...
Did you wear the shirt, by the way? I
wore the shirt.
All right.
And not only did I wear the shirt, but I was looking up, because I thought, anti-fragile, resilient, pick yourself up when you're down, and that's a quality that I admire in you, and, these are things that are great. But then I started looking on the internet and reading further and saying it's not just that. It's also the fact that perhaps stressors and this kind of stuff, that some people thrive off of that. And I went, oh boy. I just recognized myself there.
How funny is that?
Because when my friends all laugh and they said, you get to the end of this and you say, oh, it'll be so nice to take a break. And they're like, it's going to be like 2 days.
That's all you know.
You're going to fill your plate up with something
Well,
else.
they say stress is a superpower. Like if you're understanding how to utilize it and then deploy it, that's what can keep you going. So it sounds like you found your superpower.
On most days, but there are many days.
Not mornings, but days. Nights are a little shaky.
Right? You just want to.
Just be quiet.
And
been there, done that. So, seeing this project through to the end, what's your goal right now today? Completing the project, getting it sold out. Is that the number one focus?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
And then, do you think that time-wise is it going to be sold out in the first quarter by next summer? In a perfect world, how quickly do you see all 12 of these units moving?
Well, so Andrew and I were just kind of going through timeline. He was saying with you, things are slow right now. The election, people waiting to see what interest rates do, all those kinds of things. It's a slow period seasonally in any case. So I would think things start a little bit in this quarter and then gain some steam in the first quarter and then really gain steam in the second quarter.
I think the spring next year, everything just opens up. Everyone's going to be bottlenecked, and like I call it patient capital. Patient capital has now become impatient now. And it usually takes 2 to 3 months of not finding what you want to then say, you know what, let's go back to that and buy that, right? So like as long as people have the vision of, I'm interested, I like it, I love it, but I need some time, I think that's all we could ask for. But I think come March, April, well, depending on if we have a soft winter or not, I mean, as long as the weather stays like this, 60, 70, 80 with the sun out, you might be buying these units in December. But I do think that there's going to be a surge of residential real estate transactions coming up in the next 2 quarters.
I love to hear that.
Yeah, and as far as rates go, I don't think rates come down at all, unfortunately, regardless of who wins the election. But in this area, it's New York City real estate. Like people don't get is there's so much money in the entire world that wants to own a piece and have a New York City address under their belt, under their ownership. I don't think you're gonna have a problem selling these.
I feel like too, this is such a cool neighborhood.
It's unique.
It's so great. You walk around here in the evening and so much going on. We're right between Orchard and Ludlow, which are very active.
Ludlow's booming.
It's booming. It's great.
Booming.
It's so cool.
Interesting. And then the views from the roof. You can see every building in New York City, I think.
Yeah, it's nice.
Did you purposely pick it that way?
It's nice.
You can see all of them?
Well, no, I mean, the location, it was always, this is a great location.
Sure.
And it gets sun all day. And
all day long.
Yeah,
I mean, the natural light in there is like incredible.
Yeah.
You don't even need lights.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to save money on your electric bill, this is the spot.
This is it.
Right?
Well, and I think, and the architect can tell you, he's the one that initially the building didn't have balconies.
Oh, that's
and he said, you can do the balcony, but, and I was like, that's awesome.
Game changer.
That's a game changer.
Absolutely.
I mean, for myself, I want outdoor space.
I agree. I think everyone wants it to some capacity, even if it's just a morning coffee or like at night, come out and get it away from the chaos going on inside, regardless of what that chaos is, right? So it's a great selling point of like, hey, like separate yourself from the noise and come enjoy yourself back here. But like I said, I admire the heck out of you. I wish you the best with the sellout. We're doing everything possible to get as much traffic through here. But man, what a success story. Someone's going to buy this property is going to inherit like one of the ultimate success stories during the COVID era. Because this is a COVID baby.
Well, we're still standing, and the building's standing looking good, so...
Better than ever.
That's best we could hope for.
Well, I'm super proud of you. We look forward to seeing the results.
Thank you. Thank you for all your support,
Oh, I'm
Jeff.
here. We're here.
It's been great.
We're here.
It's been great.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a good feeling.